Hey Hunters, Halo Zoo here, back for more D&D 5.5 stuff. So we are here with the Cleric class, which is probably going to take a while because Cleric has a lot of stuff. Not as big as the next one, but that's because Wizard is even crazier with its spell list. But anyway, so what's changed with Cleric? Over here you'll notice they get a 6th cantrip now. But that's just because you get one at 15th level now. And this isn't getting a full rework, but it is getting a decently sized update. So first and foremost, we have at first level the Divine Domain and Spellcasting, as you had before, plus a new feature called Domain Channeler. It's just a new feature added in to give them something else at first level, other than their archetype, to kind of give them a base feature that fits into how the class wants to play. Then, second level, you get Channel Divinity, Turn Undead, and a Domain feature. And third level, you now get a feature, and it's called Channeled Ward, which is just something that cares about your Channel Divinity. Fourth level, ability score increase and feats, so get anything. Fifth level, still destroy undead, CR 1/2. Sixth level, still a domain feature. Seventh level is the second use of Channel Divinity. Destroy 8th level, you get the ability score increase, feat, as well as the CR1 destroy undead and Divine Blessing. So Divine Blessing is basically just a way of saying, hey, this feature now works a little differently to how it did previously. However, this is just a domain feature that is Divine Strike or Potent Cantrip, but you are able to choose no matter your domain. It's just there's one that it's kind of like you're intended to have this, but you can use either. 9th level, domain feature. That never ended up happening, actually. Huh. Yeah, I'll work on that. 10th level, we have Divine Intervention. Actually, I'm going to do it. We're just going to... There. That's an improved channel ward at 9. 10th, Divine Intervention, as usual. 11th, CR2, Destroy Undead. 12th, ASI and Feat. 13th is a domain feature. 14th, Destroy Undead CR3 and Improve Divine Blessing. 15th is the second use of Domain Channeler. 16th, ASI and Feat. 17th, Destroy Undead CR4 and a domain feature. Your last one, actually. 18th, third use of Channel Divinity. 19th, ASI and Feat. 20th, Divine Aspect and Improve Divine Intervention. So, core features. HP, as per usual, just add your con score to base HP now. Proficiencies, pretty much the same. Might add a few new skill choices, but as of now, unchanged. Spellcasting works as it did before, so nothing special. Divine Domain is as seen before. So, Domain Channeler. Basically, you get an additional spell slot each day. So, basically how this works is that once per day, you can cast one of your domain spells at the highest level of domain spells you have access to without expending a spell slot. And at 15th level, you get this twice per day. So basically, like, if you're second level, then you can cast one of your domain spells at first level. But once you hit third level, you can cast any of the 4 domain spells at 2nd level. It does max out at 5th, so do keep that in mind. It doesn't get much better than that. But at the same time, like, you get free uses of your domain spells, which is kind of fun. And it kind of adds to the sort of like, hey, here's some stuff to kind of give the base class a bit more to do. And it kind of lets you do your domain spells a bit more and encourages you to use them more. Channel Divinity at 2nd level works as it did before. Nothing special. Turn Undead. Still just standard action. Cause Undead in 30 feet to make a whiz save or be turned. And they have to run away, basically. Channeled Ward. So basically, whenever you use Channel Divinity, you get temporary HP. Or you can also give it to a creature in 30 feet of you. Basically, this is just a way to say, hey, even if neither of your Channel Divinity options are as useful, you're still going to get a bonus for using them, and kind of meaning that you're always able to get something out of them. And that's what you get with Channeled Ward. So once you hit 9th level, you add your proficiency bonus to the THP instead of just your wisdom modifier. And this also triggers when you use Domain Channeler as well. So 5th level, destroy Undead. So this is slightly changed. So it counts as dealing necrotic and radiant damage equal to twice the creature's max HP, instantly killing and destroying it. So basically this is to kind of say, hey, if there's an effect that cares about radiant damage, necrotic or radiant damage being dealt to the creature, then it triggers off of this. 8th level, Divine Blessing. Either get Divine Strike or Potent Cantrip. At 14th level, the feature improves. Divine Strike, once per round when you hit with a weapon attack. So, Divine Strike, get plus D8 damage once per round when you hit with a weapon attack. Increases to 2d8 at 14th level. Potent Cantrip, whenever you deal damage to a creature with a Cleric Cantrip, add plus whiz to the damage dealt. 14th level, you also add plus whiz to the damage and healing to each target of Cleric spells you cast of 1st level or higher. So basically, it's just an extra damage thing. But, as a side note, this ties into your domain, so your domain will have a default, but you can choose to have the other feature instead. So, if you normally have Divine Strike, you can take Potent Cantrip if you want, and vice versa. If you normally have Potent Cantrip, you can take Divine Strike. It doesn't matter, but you'll probably stick to the one you're supposed to get. But it is a choice for your character's flavor and design. 10th level, Divine Intervention. Same as before. Standard action, roll 1d and 100. Get equal to or lower than your cleric level. Deity intervenes. Something cool happens, etc., etc. 20th level, Divine Aspect. Domain Channeler now recharged on a short or long rest. Channeled Ward now targets you and any creatures of your choice in 30 feet of you. So basically just improving Domain Channeler and Channeled Ward. Simple enough. Didn't really do much with it. Might change some things up here, but as of now, this is what we got, and it's something at the very least, you know, it's... Then again, like, Cleric is a spellcaster, so its main features don't really matter as much. Now the fun part. Archetypes. So, there's 8 base archetypes. So let's get through them. Knowledge Domain. So, at first level, we have... So, as a side note, with all Cleric domains, you will have a bonus proficiency, though it is not always going to be called bonus proficiency. It's just a generality that it will be called that. As well as domain spells, and then another first level feature. Then everything else, second level is your Channel Divinity, 8th, Divine Blessing, and then 6, 13, and 17 are assorted features. So, for Knowledge Domain, we start with Blessings of Knowledge. You gain proficiency and expertise in 2 of the following skills, and it's the 4 knowledge skills: Arcana, History, Nature, and Religion. Domain spells, same as before: Command, Identify, Augury, Suggestion, Non-Detection, Speak with Dead, Arcane Eye, Confusion, Legend Lore, and Scrying. Currently nothing new here. I think it's actually identical to the original, so there's that. Magic Lore, your new first level feature. Choose a cantrip of any class. You learn that, and it counts as a cleric spell for you. So basically, you just get a free cantrip from any single class. Doesn't matter what class it's from, you get it as a cleric spell. And this was to kind of play into the idea that you're a very knowledgeable person, so you get a free cantrip from whatever class you want, you know? Knowledge of the Ages, Channel Divinity, standard action. You can use Channel Divinity to gain proficiency in a skill or tool. Or I'm actually going to add language, skill or tool for 1 hour. So, very much like you have lots of knowledge capabilities with this one. 6th level, read thoughts. Standard action, choose a creature you can see in 60 feet. Just make a whiz save. Works as it did before, really. You can read its surface thoughts. And during that time, you can use standard action to end the effect and cast Suggestion without expending a spell slot. And it automatically fails its saving throw. 8th level, default is Potent Cantrip, but if you do take Divine Strike, it's Force or Psychic damage. 13th, Deepened Knowledge. You add plus whiz to all intelligence, skill, and tool checks. So if you roll a check for an intelligence skill or tool, then you add your wisdom to it. Visions of the Past. Pretty much the same as is before. You can conjure up visions of the past relating to an object or your immediate surroundings. Number of minutes equal to your whiz score, etc., etc. Might add some stuff here, but currently I'm kind of happy with it. So let's go down to Life Domain. So first level we get bonus proficiencies, which is heavy armor. Our spells include a few changes here and there. So first level you still get Bless and Cure Wounds. Second level lesser restoration, and prayer of healing. So basically the idea is that instead of having spiritual weapon for some reason, you get prayer of healing instead. 3rd level, Beacon of Hope and Revivify. 4th level, Death Ward in the new regeneration spell, since the other spell, don't remember what it was, but it wasn't that interesting to it. 5th level, then, you have Mass Cure Wounds and Raise Dead. The other 1st level feature is Disciple of Life. When you cast a spell that restores HP, add plus prof plus slot level to the HP regained. Same as was before, basically. 2nd, Preserve Life. As a standard action, you can use Channel Divinity, create a pool 5 times Cleric level HP, divide amongst you and or any creatures of your choice in 30 feet. And yeah, it works as it did before. 6th level, Blessed Healer. Whenever you trigger the Disciple of Life on another creature, you also regain the Disciple of Life HP. So it's just linked into Disciple of Life since that's what it was before. Divine Strike, you get it by default, and it's now fire or radiant damage. Doesn't really change much, but hey, it's there. But actually, you know what? Lightning or radiant, because why not? Why not change it up? 13th level, Healer's Mastery. Plus whiz to medicine checks and to any other skill or tool checks relating to healing, sicknesses, diseases, and remedies. So basically, if like it has to do with healing stuff, you're better with that skill check. 17th level, Supreme Healing. When you roll dice to restore HP, you max the HP. Simple enough, you know? It's what it did before. Okay, Light Domain. Bonus cantrip. You do get bonus cantrip still, but it's now produce flame, not light. Main idea was that it was like, you know, here's a cantrip you could get anyway on a class that got barely any cantrips. So here's a cantrip that also makes sense, that kind of mixes things up a little and is, you know, it still gives them a light source, which is what light did, but it's also now a ranged attack cantrip that you get. Just a fun thing. As for their spells, few changes here. So at 1st level, we have Burning Hands and Fairy Fire, which I think is what you had before. 2nd, Scorching Ray, Flaming Sphere, which I think is what you had before. 3rd, Daylight, which you had before, and Melf's Minute Meteors. Basically, the idea was that because you get Flame Strike later, I wanted to keep Flame Strike and then remove the spell that's like, oh, hey, just make a massive explosion. Instead, you get Melf's Minute Meteors to kind of make Flame Strike cooler on this build, and to also sort of like change things up a little, you know? Give you some extra utility in combat. And, you know, make you more ally-friendly, which is kind of what a cleric should do anyway. 4th level, you get Radiant Purge, a spell from Khan/Dragon Guide to Tarkir, as well as Wall of Fire, which I think you did get before, but anyway. 5th level, you now get Dawn and Flame Strike. So Dawn shows up since it was a spell in Xanathar's, and it makes sense for the build, you know? 1st level, Warding Flare. Whenever a creature in 30 feet makes an attack roll against you, use your reaction to pose disadvantage. Whiz uses per day. Simple enough. Radiance of the Dawn. Use Channel Divinity as standard action to instantly dispel magical darkness. And creatures hostile to you nearby must make a con save, which I forgot to color code, or take radiant damage, which upgrades at 14th level. So that is new, but it's mostly to kind of say, like, hey, you know, Divine Strike improves at that level, so this improves too. I forgot to describe that. But 6th level improved warding flare. You can now use warding flare whenever any creature makes an attack. Eighth level, potent cantrip, but if you do take Divine Strike, it's Fire Radiant. 13th level, Sun's Wrath. Whenever you would deal Fire Radiant damage, you can instead deal Fire and Radiant damage. So, it's a simple feature, but it's one that does a lot. Because, yeah, you know all those fire spells you have that are kind of bad against certain types of enemy? Yeah. You ignore that now, as it's now always fire and radiant damage, so it's a simple feature, but it's a very powerful one. Might add to it, but right now I'm happy with it. 17th level, though, Corona of Light. Can use a standard action to activate an aura of sunlight that lasts for 1 minute or until you dismiss it as a standard action. Bright light in 60 feet, dim light 30 feet beyond that. Enemies in the bright light have disadvantage on saving throws against any spells and abilities that deal fire and or radiant damage. After using it, you must finish a short or long rest before using it again. Might nerf this again, but that's mostly because this is just a very powerful feature. I mean, it's already nerfed to where it's like it's basically always active, which I don't think was intended. But it's definitely like it's a powerful feature, and it's definitely like, hey, you have something good here. Nature Domain. So, bonus proficiencies. So, you get proficiency with scimitars and one of the following skills: animal handling, nature, and survival. Notably, they lost heavy armor. A simple explanation to this is it kind of felt weird that they're supposed to be like kind of druid adjacent, yet had heavy armor for some reason. So that's been removed in order to better accommodate the fact that they are kind of like semi-druidic in a way. Domain spells: animal friendship, speak with animals at 1st level. 2nd, bark, skin, spike growth. 3rd, choking brambles. A new 5.5 spell has shown up here, as well as plant growth. 4th level, you get grasping vine and guardian of nature. And then 5th level, tree stride and wrath of nature. Kind of changed some stuff up a bit, just to add some better stuff at the later 3 levels. First 2, I think, were fine. So, there you go. Acolyte of Nature at 1st level. Get a druid cantrip of your choice. Then, for each level of spell you can cast of 1st level or higher, you can prepare a druid spell of that level instead of a cleric spell. All spells learned and prepared with this feature count as cleric spells for you. So basically, you get to steal some spells from druids. That's it. It's simple enough, but hey. 2nd level, charm plants and animals. Works as it did before. Charm all beast and plant creatures in 30 feet of you for a minute. Simple enough. Dampen elements. So, whenever you're a creature in 30 feet of you takes acid, cold, fire, lightning, and or thunder damage, use reaction to grant the target resistance to the damage dealt. Or immunity if they already have resistance to it. Might add charges to this. Eighth level, Divine Strike. Gain the Divine Strike feature, and it deals acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. So it's not just cold, fire, or lightning. It's added acid and thunder, which kind of plays into dampen elements as well. So there's that. Adaptive Nature. When you have one or more creatures charmed with charmed plants and animals, you can use bonus action on your turn to command them to do something on their next turn. Simple enough. Master of Nature at 17th level. Basically, you prepare an extra spell for each level you can cast, which basically it might as well actually be saying, hey, Acolyte of Nature no longer replaces your Cleric spells prepared. Instead, you get all those Cleric spells prepared, plus an additional 9 spells from Druid. So, that's it for now. Simple enough, you know. Tempest Domain. This one has the bonus proficiencies of martial weapons and navigator's tools. Once again, you've lost heavy armor, but that's because I kind of felt like they're more of like a half-caster in a way. So I decided to remove heavy armor to kind of denote that. And it's not like you don't have a lot of defensive spells anyway, or a lot of defensive abilities, so losing it isn't the worst thing in the world. As for their spells, yeah, it's changed up. So, first level, we have Lightning Strike and Thunder Wave, with Lightning Strike being a new 5.5 spell thrown in. Second level, Rhymes Binding Ice and Shatter show up. Third level, we have Call Lightning and Cold Snap. Fourth, Control Water and Storm Sphere. Fifth, Destructive Wave and Maelstrom. So you're going to get notice that there's some new lightning and cold stuff. But first level, Wrath of the Storm. Now it's a bit more. So you now use Whiz for the attack and damage rolls of weapon attacks you're proficient with. And you also get a cantrip of your choice that deals cold, lightning, or thunder damage, as well as either gust or shape water. And they count as cleric spells for you. And when you're hit by a melee attack, you can use a reaction to force the attacker to make a dex save. Spell save DC is your spell save DC. Or take Prof D8 plus Whiz, cold, lightning, or thunder damage. And you have Whiz uses of the ability before needing a long rest. Do note that the number of dice is equal to your proficiency bonus now, so it does scale up now. Second level, Destructive Wrath. Whenever you'd roll cold, lightning, and or thunder damage, use Channel Divinity to roll twice and use either result. No longer auto-maxing damage, because that's a bit crazy. So you will actually notice that so that has been nerfed, but the idea was that it's like, well, why would I have keep a feature that was just like, yeah, you'll never use Turn Undead with this. Instead, it's like, yeah, you might actually want to use Turn Undead again. 6th level, Thunderbolt Strike. Whenever you deal cold, lightning, and or thunder damage to a creature, move them 5 feet in a direction of your choice. If the triggering ability already moves them, you knock them prone instead. So basically, like Thunder Wave knocks prone instead of moving 5 feet in a direction of your choice, because it already comes with the push. 8th level, Divine Strike. Get it by default. Cold, lightning, or thunder damage. 13th level, Storm's Blessing. You just get a flying speed and swimming speed equal to your walking speed. And also keep in mind that as shown off, Wrath of the Storm does actually let you snag Booming Blade or Frozen Slash. So you can actually take those if you wanted. 17th level Stormborn. Whenever you deal cold, lightning, or thunder damage, you deal all 3 types. And you gain immunity to cold, lightning, and thunder damage. Plus, whenever you would roll one of those damage types, roll any number of dice that rolled a 1 until they roll a 2 or higher. So basically, all cold, lightning, and thunder damage has Brutal 1 from 4th edition. So it's like you can't roll higher, lower than a 1, or lower than a 2. Trickery Domain. Bonus proficiencies. You now get short swords, as well as 2 of the following skills or tools. Deception, sleight of hand, stealth, and or thieves tools. So, kind of letting them be more like trickstery in a way. Domain spells, first level Charm Person, Disguise Self. Second, Pass Without Trace, Suggestion. Third, Enemies Abound, Major Image. Fourth, Charm Monster and Polymorph. Fifth, Dominate Person and Modify Memory. You also get Trickster's Blessing at first level, which you can learn the Friends and Minor Illusion cantrips, which count as cleric spells for you. And once per day, you can use a standard action to give up to whiz creatures of your choice. You and up to whiz creatures of your choice. And keep in mind, this is you and whiz, so you get basically like if you have 16 whiz, then you get 4 creatures, including yourself. And they get plus whiz to stealth checks and ignore the armor penalty to stealth for 1 hour. So basically, you can improve your party's ability to be sneaky and ignore the disadvantage. Second level, Invoke Duplicity. Pretty much the same as before. You conjure an illusionary duplicate. However, you can cast spells, make weapon attacks, and skill or tool checks as if you were in the illusion space, using your own senses. And the illusion can be attacked. It shares your AC and saving throw bonuses, and its HP is equal to half your maximum. So if you have, like, let's say a max of 16 HP, which actually isn't possible at this level, but let's just hypothetically say that it is. You have 8. It has 8 instead. 6th level, Cloak of Shadows. As a bonus action, turn invisible till the end of your next turn. Or you cast a spell or make a weapon attack. If you do make an attack roll against a creature while invisible, you have advantage. If you force a creature to make a saving throw while invisible, they have disadvantage on it. And you have whiz uses of this ability, which you regain with a long rest. Main change, this is not a channel divinity. It's not replacing Invoke Duplicity. So, yeah, it's basically like you just can use Invoke Duplicity more. 8th level, Divine Strike. Poison or psychic damage. 13th, Trickster's Gift. While Invoke Duplicity is active, you and any allies in 5 feet of you or the illusion have +1 to AC and saving throws. Basically a slight buff while it's active. Improved Duplicity. It's the same as it was. Now create 3 illusions, and you command all with the same bonus action. So, simple enough. War Domain. Bonus proficiencies, unchanged. You still get martial weapons and heavy armor, and are now the only one right now to have that. Domain spells, this has changed a bit. First level, Divine Favor and Thundering Smite. Second, Branding Smite and Magic Weapon. Third, Blinding Smite and Crusader's Mantle. Fourth level, Elemental Smite and Staggering Smite. And then 5th level, Banishing Smite and Destructive Wave, with Elemental Smite being a new 5.5 spell. So basically, like, the idea was to give them more, like, combat stuff. And now we get the new War Priest. So, first and foremost, Wisdom is now your attack and damage roll for weapon stat. It's just like the other what Tempest Domain gets. And whenever you prepare spells, choose a weapon you're proficient with, and it becomes your sacred weapon until you next prepare spells. It counts as a holy symbol and a silvered weapon. And you can use a bonus action to make an attack with your sacred weapon, ignoring the loading property if it has it. And you have whiz uses of this ability, which you regain with a long rest. So basically the idea is that your sacred, you now have, like, you can choose a weapon to make sacred, and it gets improved a bit. So just a neat concept that's kind of a fixed version of favored weapons, where you choose the weapon. It's not just, oh, hey, here's your deity's favorite weapon. It's like, no, you choose it. We're not going to force it on you. You choose the weapon that is your sacred weapon. That's completely up to you. You're probably going to choose the same one over and over again, of course, but hey, you can change it if you want. Second level, Guided Strike. And when you make a weapon attack roll, you can use Channel Divinity to add +5 to the roll. War God's Blessing at 6th level. Whenever a creature you can see in 30 feet of you makes a weapon attack, you can use Guided Strike on their attack roll now. So it's just a way to use Guided Strike on other people. 8th level, Divine Strike. It's force or physical damage. And the physical damage is of the weapon's damage type, so kind of like it was before, really. 13th, True War Priest. Sacred weapon now counts as adamantine and silvered, and has +1 to all attack rolls. So it just improves your sacred weapon. 17th level, Avatar of Battle. Resistance to all physical damage and deal +prof damage with your sacred weapon. So slight buff there, and change to the wording so it's like all physical damage, but it's otherwise the same. Actually, you know what? Before I forget, I'm nerfing this to resistance. There. And last but not least, Death Domain. Still get proficiency with martial weapons. Your domain spells, at 1st level, you have Cause Fear and Rave Sickness. 2nd, the new Drain Life and the Rain Enfeeblement spell. 3rd, Animate Dead and Vampiric Touch. 4th, Blight and Soul Burst, which is another new spell. And 5th, Dense Macabre and Negative Energy Flood. So, and this one has easily been the most buffed, but it's actually because of their spell list, not just the archetype as a whole. Reaper at 1st level. You learn a Necromancy cantrip of your choice. Counts as a Cleric spell for you. Necromancy spells and spell attacks of 2nd level or lower that normally target only one creature can instead target 2 creatures in 5 feet of each other. And your weapon attacks also deal necrotic or poison damage in addition to their normal types. And you can use Wisdom for the attack and damage rolls of weapons you're proficient with. Kind of just change things up a little bit to make it where you have some actual support for using weapons here. And kind of improve it a little bit. Touch of Death at 2nd level. Whenever you deal damage with a weapon attack or a Necromancy cantrip, you use Channel Divinity to do 5 + 2 times Cleric level necrotic and poison damage. Actually, I'm gonna nerf that to... You know what, we're just going to make it twice Cleric level necrotic damage. Inescapable Destruction at 6th level. This is going to be your necrotic and poison damage treats immunities like resistances normally are and ignores normal resistances. And whenever you cast a necromancy spell, 1st level or higher as standard action, make a weapon attack as part of that action. Divine Strike deals necrotic or poison damage now. 13th, Improved Reaper. Reaper now affects necromancy spells of 5th level or lower, so literally any domain spells and just most necromancy spells are now affected. 17th, Undeniable End. You ignore necrotic and poison damage immunity. And whenever you roll necrotic or poison damage, roll twice, use either result, dealing both necrotic and poison damage. So this should be a bit more interesting when you're doing stuff and kind of play a bit more into the weapon stuff while also still having the spell stuff there. And it's probably the one that, like, either Divine Blessing is a good choice because you have support for using weapons, you have support for doing spells, but it's up to you which you choose. Spell list. So, starting with cantrips, we have Sunray, which is a new to 5e spell, which is just a radiant damage attack roll spell. Siphon Vitality. I'm actually not going to worry about the... I just realized that was the wrong one. Anyway, as for the new to 5.5 stuff, the errata, Chill Touch, Dancing Lights, and Thunderclap have been errated to Cleric. Just decided to give him some Thunder stuff as well. Kind of change cantrips as well, just to change things up a little bit. Might actually add more Thunder spells at the later levels. Haven't yet, though. And you also get the new Bone Talon, Thunderburst, and Ward Strike spells. So, you will notice there's a lot more necromancy stuff available to clerics. And that's a general theme. As at first level, we have Compelled Duel, Divine Favor, False Life, and Ray of Sickness, plus the new Soul Strike and Sunblast spells. So, Soul Strike, you sacrifice some of your HP to do plenty of damage to a target. Sunblast, Cone of Radiance that can blind creatures or limit their visibility. Also, the ward abilities show up on Cleric because I thought, if anyone's going to make good use out of them, it's a Cleric with Shield of Faith. So, yeah, that's actually going to be really good here. And Bone Talon is just simple necromancy attack roll spell. It does more consistent damage. Second level, we have Arcane Lock, Darkness, Healing Spirit, Moonbeam, Ray of Enfeeblement, See Invisibility, Skywrite, and Wither and Bloom, errated over, with Skywrite being one that's like, it kind of feels like a divine character should be able to have this, as it just makes sense to me, It's just a cool, fun thing. Ray of Enfeeblement, Wither, and Bloom, of course, are here because necromancy shenanigans. In Moonbeam, Radiant spell you didn't have. Healing Spirit, healing spell you didn't have. So you get them. There's also the new Binding Heal, Drain Life, and Ward Burst spells. Drain Life is a new necromancy spell that damages a target and heals you, while Binding Heal can heal one ally for a good amount and a second ally for a smaller amount. Third level, we now get Crusader's Mantle, Plant Growth, not Groth, Summon Undead, and Vampiric Touch, with the last two being necromancy spells added on. You also get the new Bone Spear and Sunbolt spells, Bone Spear being a piercing line that just shreds targets with a dark projectile. Sunbolts, ranged spell attack that's just a big blast of radiant damage. Fourth level, we have Blight, Shadow of Moil, and Sickening Radiance, with the first two being necromancy spells added to the arsenal, and Sickening Radiance being a light spell, a radiant spell you didn't have. You also get the new Regeneration, Sight of Doom, and Soul Burst abilities. Sight of Doom being a divination combat spell. Regeneration being a heal over time spell. And Soul Burst being a sort of like explosion of necrotic energy that is more powerful if you sacrifice some of your health. I might rename the soul abilities to Blood, but that's Whip. So, 5th level, Circle of Power, Contact Other Plane, which that's easily the most surprising spell you don't have as a cleric. But, Dance Macabre, another spell that's like, you don't get that. Destructive Wave, Dream, Enervation, Hold Monster, Negative Energy Flood, Skill Empowerment, and Wall of Light. So, Enervation, Negative Energy Flood, and Dance Macabre are necromancy spells, so of course you get them. Wall of Light? Like, seriously, how come you didn't get that before? It's like the most cleric-y wall spell. But anyway. In Dream, it's like, wait, they don't get Dream? Like, sending messages in dreams? That's like a very divine cleric-y thing. You also get the new Bone Shard spell and Mass Shield of Faith, which is just Shield of Faith on everyone. Also, have fun with Ward Strike. Yeah, but anyway, 6th level, we have Circle of Death, which is a necromancy spell, as well as Eye Bite, Magic Jar, and Soul Cage. You also get Fizzband's Platinum Shield and Tensor's Transformation with Fizzband's Platinum Shield. Once again, why don't clerics get that? Like, seriously. Like, protecting a target? That's a cleric thing. You also get Mass Regeneration, which is the regeneration spell, but on multiple people. 7th level, we have Crown of Stars, which is Radiant spell, and Finger of Death, which is necromancy spell. So, yeah, simple enough. You also get the Weave of Fate divination spell, which is a new one, which is sort of like you're sort of able to manipulate fate and change it and bend it to your will. 8th level, you get the Abi Dalzim's Horrid Wilting and Clone necromancy spells, because necromancy, as well as Maddening Darkness, which kind of goes with the like light and dark theme that clerics occasionally have. So it's like more of a dark cleric ability. You also get Prevent Death, which is just say, hey, my ally doesn't die. It's basically reactive, like, nope, you're not dying on me yet. See All, which I will literally describe it as it's all the divination spells, all the detect spells at once. That's literally what it is. Because why not? You also get Summon Allies, which is just... As I've joked before, it's the Avengers Endgame ending as a spell. That's what it's intended to be. And just summon a bunch of your allies from around the world. Foresight at 9th level, as well as in the 9th level. Foresight, Imprisonment, Invulnerability. Once again, why don't you get Invulnerability? Like that, it's such a cleric spell. Power Word Kill, because, once again, like, you get Power Word Heal when you get Kill. Seems like a no-brainer. And also Meteor Swarm. Because what's, like, it just feels like, you know, you're calling down a deific apocalypse on your opponents. It just fits. And then there's also Divine Avatar, which is a new spell, which is sort of like, you know, become an icon of your deity in holy power and just start wrecking stuff. So, anyway, this has been the Cleric of 5.5. Hope you all enjoyed it, and like what you see with the changes. I accidentally opened 4K Capture Util. Did not mean to do that. Anyway, without further ado, this has been the 5.5 Cleric. So see y'all next time. halos you